Don't worry. Speak to me. Speak to me. Yeah.
Yes. So, we want to find out what today's deliberations were like.
Well, I think it's gone well. As usual, it's been cordial. We have ironed out critical issues. First of all, the scope of the full transition team was laid out today. Beyond the 3 subcommittees that were inaugurated the last time, other committees have been formed on various thematic areas. And they'll be getting to work immediately. They've been populated. Provision has been made for support from technical persons, both on the government side and on the NDC side. So we expect that they will get to work immediately. We have received both hard and soft copies of the handover notes. So we'll be looking through them in the coming days, and it will inform the work that the various committees do. So it's been quite fruitful, and we hope to get to work immediately to get this over and done with.
What about the committees that, the subcommittees that you said will form to the subcommittees on the objections raised by the...
That will go to the government machinery subcommittee, because invariably most of the work being done falls under the purview of the agencies of state, the departments, the ministries and the agencies that fall under the government machinery antenna. So they will be dealing with those ones.
Okay. Aside from those 2 objections, are there any other objections you raised today?
No. There wasn't any other objections. I would say that it's been a very fruitful and cordial meeting. If there is any other information that we wish to convey to the public, we will put it out.
At the end of the day, you were concerned about the levels of deliberations in relation to the last-minute appointments and payments. Was that resolved?
Yeah, some consensus was reached, and we'll be putting out a statement on that going forward.
Consensus as in?
On how to address them. As I told you, that matter has been referred to the government machinery subcommittee. So it will be dealt with at that level, and then they would report to the larger transition team.
I know it's early days yet, but have you drawn a budget? Because I
No, there's no issue of a budget. We have made it clear that we are not going to burden the states with any amount whatsoever regarding budgets. The most we will need is office space and some support staff. That's all. So there's no issue of a budget. Well, that is yet to be determined, because apparently there's a state activity that has to take place, which will take away most of the members of the government side. So by close of day today, we should know when our next sitting will be, and we'll keep you informed.
But aside the issue you raised, any other issues that...
No, there's not been any contentious issues. Yeah, arising from today's deliberations. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
The pleasure is mine.
Committee pursuant to the President Transitions Act 2012 had their first meeting last Wednesday. And at that meeting, myself and my brother Felix Kwachi-Ofosu were nominated to speak on behalf of the committee collectively. So this is our very first meeting, invited as spokespersons to be at the meeting. So today, the business of the day was about constitution of subcommittees. As you may recall, at the first meeting, 3 subcommittees were constituted, and today additional 6 subcommittees were also constituted, including finance and economy, the social sector, legal and governance, infrastructure, among others. Also, members of the outgoing government and the incoming government nominated 3 representatives each, who will serve as members of committee, and one from each side serving as a co-chair. The mandate of the committee is to the extent that they are expected to convene meetings and also take the handing over notes as submitted by MDAs to the Administrator General, so that they can go through them and then advise the substantive committee accordingly. There are other members or other persons from the civil service and the public service in general who are also required to give technical support to these committees, even including outgoing ministers, to give support to the subcommittees as and when they are needed to serve. So today, officially, all the 9 committees were duly constituted, and subsequently the co-chairs led by the Chief of Staff and also Honorable Julius Debra, who is a representative of the President-elect as co-chair, who directed that all the handing over notes should be submitted to the respective committees for them to do their work, so that, God willing, a week today, the subcommittees who have completed their work will come before the committees and do submission.
Okay, there are allegations of last-minute recruitments and also dubious payments that are being made. What is your reaction to that?
I was so surprised when I heard those comments. In fact, I couldn't believe my eyes, and I said I have to go online to check if there is any formal statement, until I realized that some interviews were granted that did not reflect the meetings that were held last Wednesday. Let me remind you that the terms of reference of the President's Transitions Committee is what is established by Act. Within the Act, it does not go beyond what the Act does not provide. So I believe that the goodwill and the commitment that the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has shown, together with the President-elect John Dramani Mahama, have shown that they want us to work together and come out with a result that is in the interest of this country. That is what the committee is meant to do, within the confines of the Act and nothing more. Let me also remind you that the President of the Republic, beyond commitment to peaceful election, beyond commitment to free and fair election, had directed, after the 2020 elections, that under his administration, although there was a convention that outgoing ministers and government appointees were at least by convention allowed to purchase their saloon cars that they were using, in 2020, President Akufo-Addo said, not under his watch. No minister should take a car with him or her. No political appointee should take a car with him or her. Subsequent to that, my brother Eugene Ahin issued a statement 2 days ago reminding all political appointees of the President's declaration and commitment that we should not purchase cars, and that every political appointee is expected to submit state property in their possession to government's chest by 3rd January 2025. So I believe that was a starting point that we should look at. Beyond that, any allegation of, I don't even know what you mean by last-minute recruitment, because pursuant to Article 57 of the 1992 Constitution and the mandate granted to the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, through the terms of the people of Ghana, that mandate expires on the midnight of 6th January 2025. We are working within a budget year. We are working based on projections and expectations as early as last November, as November 2023, as to our expectations of how much revenue we are able to mobilize, whether through taxation, financing, grants, and what we thought the expenditure or the government just can contain within the budget year. Government has not departed. There is not a single recruitment happening without the due financial clearance, granting the mandate to the respective ministry to do so. There isn't any contract without the requisite documentation or support or commitment from the Ministry of Finance, which comes by way of commencement warrant or duly allocated budget to the respective ministry to work. And let me remind you, both political parties, leading political parties in this country, have been in government, gone to opposition, been in government, gone to opposition, and I do not seek to equalize. But I remember most of your media platforms have referred to a letter that was written under the hand of Honorable Osafo on 17 December 2016, advising the then outgoing government on some of the actions that were being taken. But even beyond that 17 December 2016, the government reminded us through interviews and statements made by my brother Felix Kwachi Ofosu, Honorable Mahama Ayariga, that the mandate of their government had not expired and was not going to expire until 6th January 2017. We are here again. It is only that the parties have changed. It is still the same field, the same laws. But I believe if anybody has concerns about any illegality, we shouldn't have concerns about illegality transpiring within 1 month. If there is an illegality, it does not matter when that illegality happened. And other processes when the power is handed to them on 7 January 2025 to address some of those issues and do whatever recoveries they think is illegal and must be done. But just to throw hot air and be the first to run to the media to level allegations and engineer some publications in the newspapers and online. I'm in this space. We know all that. But I'm saying for the peace that we seek and the inspiration that some of us have taken from the President of the Republic and the Vice President of the Republic, we are empowered to support the President-elect and the incoming government to have the smoothest transition to continue government business in the interest of the good people of Ghana. And that commitment we shall honor. But any other matter that seeks to take away from the mandate of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo until the end of 6th January 2025, you and I know is unconstitutional. And I'm even referring you to the fact that as late as 20th December 2016, the former president and president-elect appointed a Shrag boss for us. Because it was a legal appointment, that Shrag boss has been in office since 2016 to date. You get the point. They appointed an NCC commissioner for us. And it did not change because we have to, when they raise points that the mandate says 4 years, not 3 years, 10 months, or 3 years, 11 months. And if there is anything untoward, whatever provisions or policy direction that the incoming government has, they have the opportunity and resources to do whatever they deem fit. But I don't understand why after winning an election and seeking a smooth transition, we still want to go ahead and then throw dust and misinform and cause panic, which will lead to people going out there to cause violence and also to hurt people.
So with all said, are you recruiting people?
I am saying that there is no recruitment which is new after we lost the election. The Ghana Police Service, the Ministry of Interior, since August, made an announcement of financial clearance that they've received since January. If you recall, it's got the processes have been to Parliament, all other places, securing financing. They announced publicly of the intention to recruit. The Ghana Police Service brought a schedule of where the recruitments were taking place in every regional capital. The young people of this country went out there to participate in the process. They were shortlisted, they did their medicals. In fact, some of them were already at the training schools. But the police service deemed it fit that you cannot disenfranchise people because they are under training. So these individuals have to be released to go out there to cast their votes and come back to continue the process. And I'm reminding you that at the military training school, when we took office in 2017, there were people who were recruited who were in training as at November 2016. Not a single one of them was removed or changed by this government, because we make it appear as if some of these processes just come out of the blue. It is not every institution who will even have the financial clearance to embark on these recruitments. And I'm saying these are public exercises, and publications on your respective media houses and online portals will reflect the narrative as I am putting it out today, and nothing new. If there is any evidence to the contrary of people being recruited without financial clearance, without due process. Let us give specific instances and mention names. Not that because all of a sudden there is a change in government, we need to change the narrative and create some stories to further denigrate and defame some individuals for what they have not done.
Lastly, as the mouthpiece of government, there's pressure on government to take action on the chaos that we are seeing at the various collation centers and the vandalism and all of that. What is the government doing?
We have robust institutions of states that are divorced completely in terms of operations from the political or executive powers of our country. We have the police service. When they require support from other institutions, security institutions of states, they can do so. And I believe if you see the communications and subsequent publications coming from the Ghana Police Service, at least I have seen some on their social media portals. It points to the fact that they have been making some arrests. Some people are remanded, others have been granted bail. But beyond that, clearly, you will do your research and look into the matters as to the source of this vandalism. If it's over exuberance, if it is out of some excitement of assault, post-election. So name and shame, you know them, you know their. If you know NPP members, if you know, and your media houses who did the coverage, post-election coverage, you have reporters in the various regions, if you know for a fact, they should have names and they should have pictures. But to just try and create an impression just to hide the truth, I believe that is something that you owe a bigger responsibility to our country as a media to investigate and find out what is actually going on. But it is, I believe, over the past few days, I have granted interviews to a lot of international media, and they are as proud as I am as a Ghanaian that we have vowed that whatever the outcome of every election is, we are committed to a peaceful transition process, that votes are duly counted and persons who have won are duly declared, and we move on as a country. At the end of the day, it is a marathon, not an event. In 2020, I believe it will not even be 2 years until we start processes towards another election. We wish good for our country. If they have selected an alternative, they have the goodwill and our prayers to do well. If they don't do well, another election will just be at the corner, and we'll come back to the good people of this country to make a case.
Finally, there was an issue of 240 million Ghana cedis that the spokesperson for the Mahama transition team said they had flagged. I want to find out what the outcome was on that.
Let me remind you once again, respectfully, that the transition team's powers does not exceed whatever authority granted by the Act, and it does not place an embargo on the executive mandate that the people of Ghana have given to President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. As we sit here, it's about inauguration, it's about handing over, it's about disclosures and declarations and making sure they receive everything they are meant to receive. It does not take away the powers of the finance minister to pay. Then we should say that in December we are not paying salaries because the transition team should be the one to pay. When you were talking about security situation right now, you didn't say that you are calling on the former president or the NDC to address security concerns. You said we are still in government, so the state should act. The actions of the state does not expire until the executive mandate that you gave to the president expires. So why do we approbate and reprobate? On security matters, you want government to show that they are still in office, but on expenditure and decisions, you say, wait, allow a transitions committee to advise you on what to do.
The argument is that these payments are irregular and they are coming at the last minute after the outcome of the December election.
The timing. Let me remind you.
The outcome of the December election.
I'm saying that, what do you mean by irregular payments? What do you mean by that? Every ministry that is under the consolidated fund, they have their capex, they have their goods and services, they have their program for the year. Those who are not able to exhaust it will go back to chess. Those who required more funding, they presented it before Parliament. And approvals and appropriations have been done. So let me remind you once again, respectfully, that we cannot all of a sudden say because there is change, there is an election, and there is a change in government expected in January, we shouldn't pay salaries. the finance ministry shouldn't pay obligations. Ministry of Information, we have procured 40 state-of-the-art LED information rig for the Information Services Department for the retooling. It's at the ports. They have to clear. We have to pay. Is it the case that we are saying the tools that even the civil servants need to work, which was captured in the budget since November 2023, should be shelved because there is change in governments? The new budget year, they will have all the control to do the appropriation under the new budget year, based on the resources at their disposal, based on the whatever policy direction that the incoming government seeks to pursue. But let President Akufo-Addo and his government do what we are required to do for the people of Ghana whilst he still holds executive power. And at the end of the day, I believe by 6th, you will have an exit data on whatever this government has done when it comes to GDP, inflation, when it comes to exchange rate. We will have a more refined and defined conversation when we have exit data as at the time that the mandate of the president ends. But it is so unfair when they were in a similar circumstance and was appointing to NCC, appointing to Controller and Accountant General, appointing to the Shraj, appointing to Auditor General, executing mining leases, mining agreements as late as 28 December 2016. And then we look the other way, and all of a sudden, and even bought their saloon cars which were allocated to them, and all of a sudden we say the conversation should change without any credit whatsoever to the goodwill, the peaceful transition, the goodwill that this government has shown, and the commitment that has brought all of us out here to give them all the support we can gather under the sun. So I believe the rest lies with you. You can decipher what is happening, and you will bear witness eventually to whatever we've done within the period.